Hey eBayers, it's Suzanne. Welcome back to another video. I wanted to give you some tips for researching eBay items to help you get the highest price possible. I've been getting a lot of questions about how to research, people being confused by research. Um, Completed listings is really where we go by default to look for how to price something, but I know a lot of you in my audience especially are working with items that are maybe family heirlooms. You're downsizing, you've had things for decades, you're downsizing your elderly parents' stuff, and it may not be as simple as just look at completed listings and get a price. So sometimes you do have to go outside of eBay to figure out the value of something, and you may not know how to do that. This does not involve buying a membership to anything. All of this is free on the internet, things you can do to help you research your items so that you price it correctly. In the near future, I will be doing another video to help you understand how to price based on looking at completed listings, because that can be very confusing. There can be a huge discrepancy in prices on sold items, and that is a different conversation, but I just wanted to give you these tips so that you can start using them to help you price some of these items, because it really pains me to see people underprice things because they just don't know what resources are available out there for figuring out the value of their item. And this can be a little tricky because most sellers are conditioned to check completed listings for pricing information. That is our first go-to place. But if the item is rare or unusual, there may not be any comps to compare it to. So that's where a lot of people get stuck. So here are a few strategies for researching items when you can't find anything on eBay completed listings. So the first one is Etsy. This is especially helpful for vintage items. Actually, unless the item is handmade or vintage, it cannot be sold on Etsy. In case you're not aware, Etsy is an online marketplace with a completely different feel than eBay. It's more of an artisan community with handmade, vintage, or custom-made items. So if you are researching a collectible or a vintage item, you may find it there. Sometimes the exact same item will be for sale on eBay and Etsy, but priced much higher on Etsy. And eBay has a reputation as being the garage sale of the internet, while Etsy has a more of a boutique feel. So you may see your rare or unusual item on Etsy and can take pricing cues from there. There is not an easy way to see completed listings on Etsy. I know there are some workarounds and ways to get to that information, so if that's something you want to pursue, you can just look on YouTube for videos about how to find completed sales on Etsy, but it's definitely not like eBay where it's just very easy to do with just clicking a few boxes and looking at the completed sales. Okay, number 2 is our good old friend Google, and specifically Googling for articles or information about your product. If you just put the name in, you're going to probably get a lot of photos or maybe active listings on eBay. But what you want to look for here are blogs, because blogging is a huge industry and bloggers in a specific niche are passionate about their topics. So a lot of people will just write articles on their blog about things in their collection and what it could be valued at. So that's what you're searching for, is somebody who has knowledge of the item, talking more about it, what the market value could be, that type of thing. And even though the blog may be inactive or it's been a while since there's been a post, they may still have the pricing information you need. So you can spend some time on Google looking for blogs about your topic. So here's one I found. I just put in collectible teapots and found a blog. talking about antiques and collectibles, and this was a specific teapot article. So the information's out there, sometimes it's just hard to find. So again, even if it's inactive information, it's still better than nothing. You may also find articles on sites like about.com or Collectors Weekly where experts are writing about their topic, and they can speak with some authority because they know about it. Okay, number 3 is Google image search. If you are not familiar with this, it's basically where you drop a photo of the item into Google reverse image search. I have an entire video on that on my YouTube channel, so you can just search for this title. It actually says how to use Google image search for eBay research, and this can be done on both mobile and desktop. You basically just go to Google Images, you drop in a picture of the item, and it's going to pull up similar pictures that could lead you to sites that have this item either listed for sale or a blog or an article where an expert is talking about it. Okay, number 4 is replacements, which used to be called replacements.com. It's now Replacements Limited. And most people think of this site as just for china patterns, crystal or silver flatware, but it's all kind of things. So it used to be replacements.com. Now it's Replacements Limited, and they have an entire section on collectibles. So this is where you can find a lot of great information if the item is not listed on eBay. There's none for sale, there's none in completeds, but it's a brand that you recognize, like Hummel's or Waterford, those types of things. So very easy to use. Just go to the collectibles section, or even just on the home page, and you can, like here I put in snow globe, and it found 229 matches for snow globe, and you can look through all the results. Now when they're listed on the site but there's it says out of stock, that's a great sign that you have something valuable, because if there's none out there, there's none on eBay, there's none on Etsy, there's none on Amazon, there's none on replacements, you can price it high because you've got the only one, especially if it's a collectible. Sometimes people give these things as gifts to others who collect certain items, or maybe the collector themselves are looking for a particular item, and they're going to pay whatever it is. That's what the thing with collectibles is, it's worth what someone will pay for it, and you don't know that till you put it out there. So if there's nothing to compare it to, always go in high. It may seem ridiculous to you. I tell the story all the time about a Christmas ornament I found at a Christmas in July sale at a thrift store for $1, and it was a Waterford annual hand-painted Santa Christmas ornament in the box, and it was $1, and I was like, you can't go wrong when it's $1. So I get home and I list it in July, and it sold in like 20 minutes for $85, the price I put on it, and it went to Florida. And so these collectors, they have alerts set up, they're looking for certain things. Who else would buy a Christmas ornament for that much money in July that quickly other than a collector? So and the reason I'm telling you this is I couldn't find it anywhere. I went on replacements, and they had other ornaments from other years, but they did not have that exact year. And this was a series that a hand-painted gold ball ornament with Santa on it, and then the year under it. So I went in, I priced it high, and it worked. So those of you that are struggling with pricing on unusual items, just go in high and put best offer on it and see what you get. And after a while, if you get several offers on the item, your clientele will let you know what it's worth by the range of offers. So if you have it too high, you'll know. But don't leave money on the table by not being confident in your prices. You can always come down, but if you sell it for too little, then you've just lost that money. Okay, number 5 is a site called Ruby Lane. This is a vintage site and very easy to use. You can just put your keyword in there at the top and see if you can find anything similar to it. Now, the people that sell on Ruby Lane, they know vintage, so I trust their expertise more than maybe eBay sellers, because it just seems more things on Ruby Lane are more expensive, and these are collectors selling and buying. And sometimes on eBay you'll get people who just aren't knowledgeable, and they'll just throw some old price on it and it sells for less than it could. So, you know, this is all about making as much money as you can with what you've got. And a lot of times eBay sellers, either they're new, or they just don't want to do the research, or they just don't know any better, and they'll price low, and that brings the prices down for everybody. So that's why I look outside of eBay for these collectible type items, because if you look at a variety of different sites and some that specialize in vintage, you're going to see higher prices because the people selling the items are more knowledgeable about what they have. Okay, and number 6 is a Facebook group called What Is This? Antique, Vintage, and Unusual Item Identification. I have talked about this before, but I just can't say enough about this group. There's now over 123,000 people in this group, and this is the best free help you could possibly find. All you do is post a picture of your item, and the group members will try to help you figure out what it is and maybe what it's worth. So if you don't know what it is, you can post it, or if you're not sure how to price it because you can't find anything about it. There are all kinds of experts that hang out on this group and just watch what's coming up in the feed and give their input. Now, a lot of people guess if they don't know what something is, which is not great. So you want to try to get several answers if it looks like people are guessing. But if you are patient enough, somebody will come along that knows what the item is or has, or you'll see a several answers that are the same. So you'll see a consensus for this item is like, oh, this is a this is a bed warmer. No, it's not. It's a cigarette butler or whatever, and eventually you'll get to the right answer if you're patient enough. So here's what you do is you just post your item. Several views is best so the people looking at it can see what it is, and then you'll get some answers here. And so this is very, very helpful for if you're not sure how to price things, if you don't know exactly what they are, or the key words to use in the title. So like this item, it's a coal iron. You put coals in the bottom of it, and it was just an old-fashioned way of ironing clothes. And if you didn't know that and you just threw it on eBay and put vintage iron with holes inside and wooden handle, that's not gonna get you where you want to go. You're going to say it's a vintage hot coal iron. That's what it's called, and if somebody's looking for it, that's what they're going to call it. So it's very important to use the right keywords so that your buyers can find you. Don't just look at the item and describe what you're seeing. Find out the right names, especially for vintage items, because these collectors are very specific in what they're looking for. So here's another example. This obviously looks like Wedgwood because it's got the raised artwork on a flat background, and it's got a hallmark over here. And people start giving answers, and somebody says this is Jasperware porcelain wall plaques made by Arnart, A-R-N-A-R-T. So that Peggy O'Neill here knows exactly what this is, and she's giving you the keywords that you need for your title. So it's like crowdsourcing for answers. There's not every answer is going to be out there on the internet somewhere written down or in a video for you to find. Sometimes it just takes people to get the right answer, and that's a good way to think about this, especially if you're getting into collectibles, is a lot of this knowledge is just in people's heads, and they just know because they've been in the antique business, or they've had an estate sale business, or their family was, had a antique store for years, and they just know. And they're not writing a blog, they're not making videos, they're not putting this information out there, so you kind of got to pick their brains to find out what you need to know. But if you didn't know any better, you might just put this on eBay and say green Wedgwood wall plaque, man, woman, romantic, French, whatever words you could come up with. But this person here says Jasperware porcelain wall plaque made by Arnart. I hope I'm saying that right. So, and then down here, someone here says they look to be Kalk German porcelain wall medallion. So, a lot of great keywords. If you're not sure how to describe your item, it's strange, it's unusual. It's strange by meaning like unusual, not like weird. But you just don't know enough about it. Ask other people. They love to help. They love to use their knowledge to help other people. So use that. And again, the name of this group is What Is This? Antique, Vintage, and Unusual Item Identification. If you're not a Facebook person, I get that. A lot of people don't like it. Just set up a profile with, you don't have to put a bunch of information on it. You can make it private, but there is so much free information on Facebook in these groups that if you're letting your fear of Facebook get in your way, you are limiting yourself. So, you don't have to, your family doesn't need to know you're on there. You can put whatever name you want, make up a fake name. It doesn't really matter. People do that all the time. But check out this group because if you ever need it, it's very, very helpful. I put things on there before and gotten answers in 15 minutes. So it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. And it's also just a great place to hang out and read what people are posting. So if you're stuck in the airport or on public transportation on your way home, or sitting in the dentist office, or wherever at your kids' after school practices, things like that, you can be on this group reading about what these things are and learning, so that when you see them out at thrift stores, estate sales, you'll kind of know what it is and you'll be more informed. This is all about knowledge. The more you know, the more money you're going to make. And I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.